Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. I'll tell you where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so I grab those when I go out with friends. Right now, get 25% off on almost everything at Abercrombie. Offers valid in stores and online January 23rd, 2025 to January 28th, 2025. In U.S. and Canada, exclusions apply as indicated. Online price reflects discount.
Okay. Hello. I almost said daddy issues, listeners. That's not the right podcast. This is Death by Southwest. I just got off of a daddy issues podcast notes call for the adult animated series that we sold to Fox and are trying to get greenlit. I think I've talked about that on here before. And my brain is a little all over the place. So it is, oh my goodness, what's today? Tuesday. It's Tuesday. This is the bonus episode for the week, and it should have come out yesterday. But yesterday was super busy, and I was hosting, so there's another podcast that I'm producing currently and kind of running the social media and digital for. And for that podcast, Patreon, the host does a Zoom with his top VIP Patreon members. And those members pay $50 a month for they get ad-free episodes, but they also get this one, like a Zoom hangout where there's maybe 20 of them, 15 of them, and the host, and they just chit-chat for an hour and a half. So that was last night. And I'm not actually on the Zoom, like my face is not on it, but I'm hosting it from my Zoom account. So I couldn't use my computer while that was happening. And by the time it was over, it was like 11 o'clock here. And I truthfully just said, fuck it, I'm going to sleep. And I didn't do this. I find that with what I'm learning, I've only done a couple, but with these kind of bonus episodes, or, they were breakup episodes, I guess, initially, where it's just me staring at myself on my computer and talking into the mic. I find that if I'm not in the mood, I don't feel like talking, or I'm exhausted, whatever, they come out really flat, because I've recorded a couple that I've never published, actually. My microphone is blinking red at me, telling me that I'm talking too loudly into it, so to modulate my voice. Anyways, happy Tuesday to everyone. I'm going to probably not edit this and just release it immediately. Same with the video. If you're watching the video, you can see right behind me, I started using, I love lists. Here's another one over here. I'm a big list person. So I have right now in front of me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different notebooks. I just like to make a list, my to-dos, my different producer jobs, projects, Death by Southwest, anything, everything. But I like to see things. I guess that makes me a visual person, is what I'm trying to say in a not concise way. So I like to see the lists. Ideally, I would have, a whole wall in my kitchen, because that's where I spend the most time, that was, dry erase or chalkboard, and I could just list like crazy and have it all be right there. But I don't have that. So I started using, for those who are not watching the video, I have these kind of French doors in between the office and the family room with big pieces of glass. And so I started using dry erase marker to write to-do lists on there so I can see them at all times. That's off topic. So there's no really sense of place today for this bonus, because part 2 of Candy Mossler will come out later today. It's recorded. I just need to edit it. And then so I've already done the sense of place for Houston. I really hope that's correct. It's been a busy morning already, and it's only noon. So anyways, the call I was just on, it's kind of why my brain is swimming, is because well, first of all, let me backtrack. So there will be no sense of place. I'm going to try and finish a thought here before moving on to the next. There will be no sense of place for this bonus. I'm just going to kind of talk. But I'm not going to talk only about breakup stuff, because I'll tell you why when I get there. But I have had a couple people ask me to kind of update, where am I? How am I feeling? What stage of the breakup process am I in? And I do have some things to say about that, but I think I've probably exhausted the topic for a lot of listeners, and also for myself a little bit. I think I'm trying to balance how much I focus on my feelings and the breakup and Mark and all of those things. I'm trying to balance that with not thinking about it and thinking about other things. So today there will be a mix. I am going to talk about it a little bit and answer, because I had got some questions. And then I also got a suggestion from a listener. Let me pull up my notes in my phone here. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who sent suggestions for the bonuses. It's much appreciated. So I got a suggestion that said an episode about all the cities you've lived and a deep dive into things to do there, famous places there, famous events that have happened there, which I really like that idea. When I first read this, I thought, I kind of read it quickly and thought, just talk about the cities I've lived in and like what I've done there. And now I realize that that's not what she meant, that it's kind of more of a sense of place for the cities that I've lived in. And I don't have that information prepared. I did not do that research. But it got me thinking about a couple of stories that I'll talk about, that I'll tell. So there's the layout for this episode, that it's going to be kind of just a mishmash of stuff. So, yeah, my brain is a little all over the place, because so the podcast I used to produce, or it's really the first podcast I ever produced on my own, was Daddy Issues with Joe Buck and Oliver Hudson. Joe Buck is texting me right now. And so that was, I started working on Daddy Issues with Joe and Oliver years ago, and as kind of an associate producer. So I was learning what a producer even does for a podcast. And then caught on quickly, really connected with Joe and Oliver. I love both of them so much. And then I was the producer, and that became my show. And then of course, when I moved companies, it came with me. And together with Joe and Oliver and our amazing audio editor, Josh, we all came up with the idea for, it might have even been Josh who came up with it. It was about 2 years ago, so I don't totally remember, but an adult animated series. I think it was Josh who first said that, like, because I was trying to come up with a TV derivative for the show that we could try to sell as a TV show. And we did, to Fox. But what I'm learning, because I'm new to the TV world, is that just because you sell a show or sell an idea for a show, which is essentially what this was, we didn't have a script or anything, it doesn't mean it's going to get made at all. And there are about 30,000 other steps to go through before you even get that green light where they will order a certain amount of episodes. And that still doesn't mean that it's definitely going to be like a TV show. It's a very like step by step process. And especially, I think there's generally a lot of kind of cooks in the kitchen, but especially for this, it's it's myself and another producer who worked at Cavalry with me, 2 writers, and then Joe and Oliver. And so it's all 6 of us. Ultimately, it's Joe and Oliver's show, but everyone is kind of playing their role and everyone has opinions. And then we get notes. We submitted the pilot. We got notes back from Fox about that pilot. And it's a very intricate process of trying to, first of all, decipher the notes, making sure we all agree that, this is what he meant or Fox meant by this note. How do we address it? How do we edit and alter the script so that this note is covered? And then everyone has different opinions about that. So it is a process, and it's a fascinating one that I'm enjoying learning about and really would love. I hope that I have the opportunity to be involved in other TV shows. The chances of that were much more likely when I was working at a company like Cavalry, and now I am essentially just a freelancer, who lives in Tucson. So the opportunities for making TV shows are not exactly like falling out of the sky, but I'm, who knows? You never know. I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now 10 years ago. So that is why my brain feels a little bit scattered. And in addition, I think I mentioned, I don't know, I've taken on kind of a bigger role with this other podcast that I'm producing. Now I'm also covering kind of the digital and social media and YouTube and any tours that the host goes on. And so it's a much bigger role that I'm learning and kind of navigating as I go. Yeah. And then Death by Southwest as well. And I'm still dog walking. So none of that is to say, oh, poor me, I have so much to do at all. I'm super grateful to be busy right now, especially with this breakup. So since I just said breakup, let's talk about it for a minute, because somebody had messaged me the other day and said, does it help you to be talking about it on the podcast? Because maybe it's not help. Maybe it's doing more harm than help. Like you're just so hyper focused on it, which I think there is an element of truth to that. I think that it's been almost 5 weeks now. Well, it's been just over 4, whatever, semantics. Arguing with myself now. It's been about a month, and it has been an emotional roller coaster. Holy shit. But at some point I have to try and stop thinking about it and talking about it and focusing on it every day. I'm there's no timeline to this. I'm kind of just trying to take each day as it comes and just feel how I feel. But it is, yes, I do agree with the listener who I think Charles said that to me. That I think it would be beneficial to not focus on it entirely, which is why I'm not going to focus on it for this whole entire episode. Also, I would imagine listeners are a little sick of it, maybe. I have found, like, I was recording those some stories for Instagram the other night, talking about the breakup or Mark or how I was feeling. And almost as soon as I kind of finished recording them and posted them on Instagram stories, I was like, should I delete that? Am I the most like self-centered? I'm just focusing on myself and my breakup and talking about it and over talking it. And people must be so sick of this. I'm almost sick of it. I'm almost sick of myself. So if I'm annoyed with myself, undoubtedly there are listeners who are too. And I don't want to be, ignorant to think that this is going to continue to be interesting to listen to. Those first maybe 2 breakup ones, the first one for sure, there was no thought behind it. I just was so uncomfortably emotional that I didn't know what to do. And there was no one to turn to say, help me, fix this for me, make me feel better, which is unhealthy, but kind of my go-to. Like, I need someone to help me feel better. I'm not good at doing that myself when I'm feeling kind of out of control emotions. And so that first one was just like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to sit down and start talking. And it helped so much. And the second one as well. It does help me kind of talk through things. And a lot of people who listen have had great advice and great feedback and shared their thoughts and their own experiences. And all of that is super, super helpful in, I think, not only kind of healing, but just the process of trying to understand and navigate this breakup, which, again, I have not been through something like this, embarrassingly or shamefully at the age that I am. I feel like I should have. And then maybe I wouldn't be podcasting about it constantly because I'd know how to handle it a little bit better. Anyways, yeah. So, where am I with the breakup? Several people asked that. And before I forget, we got a Apple review. My friend Danielle, she told me I can say her name now. My one friend here in Tucson who's wonderful, who is also dealing with a breakup. I was telling her about this Apple review that came through the other day, and she had asked if we've gotten, negative feedback or kind of bad reviews or DMs with people who didn't like the breakup stuff and were like, shut up, stop crying into your microphone. And I had to think about it for a second. I was like, we haven't. I haven't. Not one person has said anything negative or critical. And I fully expected that. Like, I was prepared for that when I published those. And they haven't. And that's a lovely surprise and surprising for sure. But somebody left a comment when I started, or a review on Apple when I started reading it. I was like, oh God, because it's titled Breakup. And it says, I just found this podcast and was reluctant to listen to the host talk about her breakup. Totally fair statement, by the way. And she said, I'm so glad I listened. Love Margot and her total honesty. You have gained a fan and, more importantly, a supporter. And that got me. That was really encouraging to hear. I don't think that necessarily means that this reviewer wants me to continue talking about the breakup forever and ever, but to know that however it came across to people listening, it wasn't offensive or terribly, terribly annoying, because I didn't really think about that. I just kind of talked. And so I'm at a point where, like I said, I feel like I need to start talking about it less and focusing on it less. And naturally I am being busier. Myself and Danielle have started walking every single day, either on her lunch break or after she finishes work at the end of the day, trying to get 3 to 5 miles every day. And that has been really, really helpful, because not only is it lovely to see her and be able to talk, but it gets me out of the house. The most difficult time, I think I'm sure I had said before, for me is kind of 3 to 5:30 or 6. Evening basically, because that was my favorite time of day. I would look forward to Mark coming home. The dogs would look forward. It was our kind of time to, cocktail hour, appetizers, cook dinner. It was fun every single night. And so that is a tough time in the day for me. I am finding that I am kind of remembering that I'm good at living alone and good at being alone. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it when it's just where I'm at in life and I didn't have to go through a painful breakup first. I enjoyed it a lot more then. But before Mark, I was single for 4 years and I lived alone, completely alone, like no family, no friends in the same state as me. And I loved it. And I've started to remember kind of who I was for those. It was about 4 years that I lived totally alone after my divorce, did not date. I had one friend in Atlanta, in the whole state of Georgia. I had no family. And yes, it was lonely. But it was very easy. Once I kind of got comfortable in the loneliness, I had total freedom. And by that, I mean, my brain was not occupied by any other person. I didn't have to think about any other people, like in terms of what they want, what they need, because I didn't see other people. There was no one else. It was just me. So I was rarely in a bad mood. I was working for Cavalry still at the time, and I fucking loved it. Loved my job. I was doing my dream job. I had a great house I was renting that I loved. I had Izzy and Henry and Kat. Me and Henry walked twice a day. And I worked. And I was trying to remember what I did on the weekends, because I had said previously that's one of the harder things now, is like weekends are basically I'm alone. I mean, like, yes, I see Danielle, but she has other friends and family here. And so the weekend, one of the most recent weekends, like I didn't see anybody all weekend. I was totally alone. I wasn't feeling, there's always work to do with what I do. There's always work. You could always do more. You could always be writing more episodes. You could be editing more episodes. You could be learning new skills for social media, or reading more scripts, or writing something. I mean, there's always something to be doing. Obviously, I don't want to be working 24/7, even though I do enjoy it. So in Atlanta, I used to like build stuff and paint stuff. I built myself a dining room table because I couldn't afford to buy one. I like remodeled the laundry. I was renting the house, but the owner was really cool. I remodeled the laundry room. I like painted the cabinets and the door. I retiled the floor. I just basically did like peel and stick tile over the linoleum that was there. Changed the hardware in all the cabinets. And then I would paint kind of similar to what I've started doing again, like buy big pieces of plywood and paint murals. And so I was remembering that. I was thinking a lot about this in the past few days, just my time there and how happy I was and how healthy I looked. Like my hair grew like crazy. My skin was good. I was at a great, like I was super in shape and fit, and I was walking a lot, but I was eating healthy. I wasn't drinking. And so the eating healthy and not drinking and exercising, yeah, of course, that helps. But I think it had a lot to do with that. I had very little stress. I didn't think about other people. And that sounds shitty. But I guess the best way to explain it is in contrast with when I moved here. Obviously I knew Mark and had known Mark for many years, but once we started dating eventually, once I was here, if I think back, I notice how shockingly quickly I went from focusing on myself and like, what do I want to do today? I'm going to walk, and I'm going to cook this for dinner. I'm going to watch this on TV. I'm going to have a phone call with my friend for this. It was only me that I was considering. And then when Mark came into the picture, now there's somebody else to consider. Duh. Like, that's obvious. That happens when you get in a relationship. But I guess I kind of live in extremes. So I went from the extreme of 4 years with I didn't have to consider anyone else's opinions, thoughts, feelings, nothing really. And then all of a sudden, now I have somebody else to consider. And instead of kind of finding a balance, I chucked myself out the window, like my feelings, my thoughts, my wants and needs don't matter. And it became all about him. What time is he going to be off of work today? What does he want? What could I make? What are we going to do? What am I going to wear? But like, and it had nothing to do with it was nothing he was doing. That was me. That's, I believe, codependence, which I suffer from severely. But so much so that like when we first were dating, he was working nights. So he would go to work at like 5 p.m. and wouldn't get home until 1 a.m. or something. And I would cook dinner at like midnight so that he could come over when he got off at 1 a.m. and we would eat dinner and stay up, fall asleep early morning hours. And I would sleep for a few hours and then have to get up to work and have meetings and stuff. And he would just sleep. Okay, it's okay to do that once in a while. I could see that. But like it became where I wanted that every single night. And the night, and if there were any nights where he was like, I'm exhausted, I'm just going to head to my house, sleep in my own bed. Like, no big deal. Well, it should have been no big deal. But to me, I took him saying, I'm going to go home and sleep in my own bed, or even with a regular work schedule, I'm going to go home. I'm tired. I'm done with work today. I'm just going to go home and chill by myself tonight. I'll call you tomorrow, or I'll call you later tonight, or whatever. Logically in my head, there's nothing wrong with that. Great. That seems normal and healthy. But that isn't like I felt when he would say those things, like, oh my God, well, why? What did I do wrong? Why doesn't he want to come hang out with me? Does he not like me anymore? Does he not care about me? I'm not fun enough. He wants to go be by himself instead of being with me. And I'm saying these are all unreasonable thoughts that I'm working on, like not making sure that doesn't happen in another relationship, because all that's to say, I completely lost myself. Like I was no longer a priority for me. And that's, I think, kind of a very broad way to describe it. But in general, that was a huge issue. That kind of fueled a lot of other behaviors of mine, and that are not healthy for me, not healthy for a relationship. And I don't like that I don't want to be that person. I don't want to not consider myself or my needs or my feelings. That's crazy. There should be a balance, And so kind of what I'm working on with lots of reflection and reading and journaling and therapy and talking to people is how do I be that version of myself that I was in Atlanta post-divorce for those 4 years? How do I be that person in a relationship? In other words, find some modicum of balance there. And that's, I don't have the answer. That was a rhetorical question. That is what I'm working on answering, I guess. And so right now with this breakup, I feel very fucking confused, if I'm going to be honest. I don't feel sad every single day like I used to. The only thing right now that really, really makes me sad and makes me cry, which it's probably going to do right now, I apologize, is thinking about the memories, remembering all the fun that we had. So, a TV show, a song, time of day. There's a million things that remind me of our relationship. But when something like really reminds me of a specific joke that we had or moment that we had, it is so painful. And I was trying to figure out, those memories are still beautiful memories. They're still great memories. They're not tainted. I don't have any animosity or anger. I don't dislike Mark. I don't hate Mark. I still love him. So why can't those memories just be what they were? Just memories, beautiful things that happened and are not happening anymore. I also don't have the answer to that. But it is really hard to think about some of our memories. Sorry, Henry needed to be let in. He just stands at the back door and barks and barks and barks if I don't let him in when he aggressively wants to come in. Anyways, so the memories, I was saying, I think that's just, those are hard. And beyond that, so the sadness has subsided a bit, which is, thank God. I hate feeling so sad. But when I do feel sad, I am letting myself cry, which I hate doing, but I'm doing it so that this, I don't want to wake up 6 months from now and be like, oh shit, I never even dealt with any of this. And now I feel terrible. So I'm trying to kind of, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, guys. Honestly, I'm sitting here talking about breakup and relationship stuff, and I have no fucking idea. I'm just like stumbling through it, trying to take in all of the like excessive information that's out there. There's so much information on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and just the internet in general, is like how to handle a breakup and how to best process it and what to do if you want to get back together with your ex and like it is overwhelming. So I'm trying to just take in what feels applicable, and seems to be working for me and just go day by day. Now, all of that being said, it's confusing where we're at now because the dog got spayed Wednesday, and it's really Mark's dog, but it's fine. It's both of our dogs. So, obviously needed to be in contact with that. I needed his help with getting her to take her medicine that first day. And so he came by that night, helped me, stayed a bit. It was fine. That may have been the night where I don't remember what night it was. Anyways, and then, we've been in contact almost every day. Just a text about how she's doing. Is she taking her medicine? Some of her staples fell out. We were wondering if we needed to take her back. So, and then Saturday he came over to help me clean out her little incision. And he stayed and I posted this on Instagram, watched this true crime thing. It was very much like old times. Old times. I mean, it was just a month ago. It was very much just normal. Like, above all else, we're friends. He's one of my best friends. We have a great time together. So that's what we do. Watch this true crime documentary, made fun of it, talked, played with the dog a little bit. And then he left. And he was like, all right, see you later. Give me a hug and left. I immediately started sobbing the second the door closed behind him. Because most of that whole evening, I felt fine. I felt like this is great. I wasn't even thinking about the breakup or the relationship or anything. It was just in the moment. But at some point I started, I looked over and I was like, oh, I wish I was sitting next to him. Or, I still have feelings for him like that. I have no idea how he feels. We have not discussed any of this. It feels too soon to like have a conversation like that. And at the end of the day, I can only kind of base what I'm doing and how I'm processing this and trying to get past it. I can only base that on what he has told me, not what I infer, not what I think or feel or want to be true. And what he told me is that he doesn't want to be with me right now, He told me that when he broke up with me a month ago and then moved his stuff out 2 weeks later. So just because we are getting along and being nice, like, of course we are. That was never our problem. It was never our problem. Has never been like, do we have fun together? Do we get along? Not at all. But there is no rule book for this. So there's a huge part of me that wants to, speak to him in person and say, and ask and say, look, I'm working on these things. This is what I've learned. This is what I've come to better understand about myself and why I behave this way. And these are, all, I don't mean to say blah, 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 because I'm so grateful for all of these books and people that are helping me and talking to me and explaining why I am the way I am in some ways and how I can replace some of these behaviors with other behaviors and be a better communicator and all of those things. So I don't mean to kind of like roll my eyes at it. But where am I going? God damn it. Basically, I still am in a place where I would like to try again. I don't feel that we tried enough. I did not know how unhappy he was about certain things. I would like I think that there's enough good between us that I want to try again. And I want to say that to him. I would like to try again. And is that something that, we're now over a month out of this breakup, that you'd be open to discussing and exploring? I really want to say, are you still in love with me? Do you hear how much I stumbled over those words? Jeez, because that feels uncomfortable. Nobody wants to ask somebody that. You just either want to have them tell you or just know it. You just feel it. It's like, I don't want to have to say, are you still in love with me? It feels so awful. But I also think that I am at a point where if he doesn't, I would like to know that. It would still fucking hurt. It would crush my heart still. But then I can stop wondering, then I can stop thinking about how long do we wait? Do we try again? But, all of those like ruminating questions that are annoying the shit out of me. And I wish I could stop my brain from going there. And then the other part of me feels like, just shut the fuck up, Margot. Don't say anything to him. Just keep focusing on yourself. You guys continue to be nice to each other. And if he wants to get back together with you, he'll tell you. I don't believe that. That's not who he is. I don't think he would say that. I think I would have to say it. Oh, the cat wants to get behind the computer. Okay. Yeah. That long pause silence is me not knowing really. It's confusing. Are we friends? Of course, we're friends before all else. But now that we broke up, like, I'm still in love with you. I'd like to still date you. So are we friends? If we continue to be just friendly like this, will my feelings start to fade away? Cat, stop. The cat is pushing on my computer. Cat. If we continue to be this way, will he start to just see me as a friend? Will I fall into that friend zone? These are all questions that I don't know the answer to. I don't think anybody knows the answer to. But I am feeling and wondering. And then at a certain point, I'm like annoyed with myself, and I force myself to stop thinking and wondering these things and just focus on right now. Right now, I'm not crying. Yay. right now I have work that I can be doing. Great. Exercising, reading, I'm trying to train my brain to stop thinking about Mark so much. Whether we're broken up or whether we get back together, no matter what, I should think more about me. This is such an inarticulate and unplanned out bonus episode. Sorry, guys. Anyways, that's probably enough breakup stuff. I'm sure that was way longer than I planned on talking about it. But I'm in a very confused place, I guess, right now, where I don't know what moving forward looks like and how or when I address it with him. The possibility of trying again, start not moving in together, just going to couples counseling, dating, taking it very slow. I don't know when to bring that up. Do I bring that up? Do I allow us to continue being friends and hanging out? Do I, block him and not talk to him for a few weeks? I don't know. I'm grateful that I'm not crying every day and I'm not hurting as immediately. And I'm remembering who the fuck I was before I decided to ditch myself and focus entirely on someone else. And this is kind of how I was feeling yesterday. I talked with Danielle about it on our walk. I'm sick of myself. I'm not talking about this anymore. Clearly I didn't stick to that because here we are. And then of course last night I was remembering the first night that we hung out and he walked me to my car, and I was thinking how much fun it was. I was imagining what could happen. Nothing had happened yet, Yeah, we've known each other for years, but this felt different. We spent the afternoon together, and then he walked me to my car, and does he like me? Does he feel the same way I do? This is interesting. I've never looked at this person this way. And I could feel that he did. And it was so wonderful and so fun. And he liked me so much. How do we get so far from that? I know the answer, but life happens. But, and then this, happened, and then I was crying. So I was really strong all day and feeling so good. And then I thought about that memory and he liked me so much. And now I have no idea what he thinks or feels towards me. I'm looking at myself in the computer. I'm such an ugly crier. It's terrible to watch yourself cry. So let's move on. Well, if anyone has any, super insightful thoughts on any of this, please reach out, send a message, and I'd love any input. And I guess the moral to all of that is I am doing better than I thought I would be doing, just over a month out of this. 2 weeks ago I still felt I felt very different. Yeah. So what else do I have to talk about? I'm working on my fitness. I hate saying that. It sounds so fucking cheesy. But I do think, I said earlier in this episode, when I was alone and really focused on myself and my career, and there was no one else to think about or focus on, there was really no stress. I mean, yeah, money and bills and things like that, but That was it. I, like, oh, this happens, and it took a huge weight off my shoulders. I feel like living like I was without like really very solitary life took literal weight off of my body. Like I was just healthier. And I feel like the stress of this breakup, and prior to the breakup, I was so hyper focused on trying to feel comfortable in my own body before we went to Belize. And it was stressful. I feel like my body has kind of been in this fight or flight type mode for a while. And it shows. And so I'm not a big meditator. I'm not a huge fan of yoga. If I'm going to exercise, I want to be fully sweating and like sore and exhausted. And I that's not a dig on yoga. I understand yoga can be very exhausting and strenuous. It's just not my favorite. I like something a little bit more like kickboxing or running or I'm drawing a blank. So I don't know how to get back to myself in who I was in Atlanta and how unstressed and unburdened I was, because I don't want to live a completely solitary life either. That is the one thing that it is one of many things that this relationship taught me, was that I actually don't want to be alone. Because if you had talked to me when I was in Atlanta, I was dead set that I had zero interest in ever getting into a long-term relationship again. Like, no, thank you. I'm better off on my own. And I fully, wholeheartedly felt that way and believed that and was fine with it. And now I don't. Now I really loved being in a relationship. I can't even say only in the good times. I loved being in a relationship, period. I liked having a partner. I was going to say mowing the lawn, but there's no grass here. So someone's blowing cactus needles around outside. I have no idea. Hopefully that's not too annoying, that this is not picking up too much of that. But that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how to get back to that kind of mentally and emotionally healthy place while still being able to have people in my life and hopefully a relationship in my life. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. I was going to talk about so many other things, but I feel like we're already at 50 minutes here. I was going to talk about that the comment about all the cities that I've lived in. It just reminded me of Greece, and I truthfully, I can't remember if I spoke a lot about Greece on the Izzy episode or ever. I'm not sure. So I don't want to like share this whole story about how I came to live, how me and Jenna both came to live in Greece she was there for 6 months. I was there for a year. If I've already shared that. So if you're listening, if I've shared that story, please tell me, because I don't want to re-bore everyone. And I did see Jenna. We hung out the other day. And I think obviously today it will be Candy Mossler, but I think that either next week or the week after, I'm not sure. We'll see. Hopefully she'll come and record with me. And I've had some feedback. Some people have said that they really liked the episode when it was just me, which was really surprising to me. I was very worried that it was going to be super boring and, no banter. I know people think we banter too much, which is fine and true, But I just got an alert on my computer. But like absolutely no banter, just me, just blah, blah, blahing, I thought would be awful. I got some good feedback. So far, no bad feedback, but I enjoy doing it with Jenna or with Mark or with, somebody else. So I thought maybe Danielle would do an episode with me once in a while. Obviously, Jenna will be back and be doing episodes with me. It is a lot easier to do an episode alone when it's just me, because it's just me. I can do it any time of day or night, and it just kind of goes faster. But I have more fun doing it with someone else. So she'll be back either next week or the week after, I believe. So those of you who are like, fuck this solo episode, we want Jenna. She will be back. And I thought I had other things to say, but my brain is drawing a blank, and I still have 2 more meetings today to do. Sorry, I did not think I was going to go so deep into all the relationship stuff, to be honest. I had kind of a list of other past stories and things to talk about. Jenna and I watched this show, the first 2 episodes of the show Expats on Amazon Prime. If anyone is looking for something to watch, I was afraid the trailer looked like very heavy. I don't do sad things really ever. Like, I don't watch sad shows. I don't listen to sad music. I don't like sad. I don't like sad. And I don't like overly heartfelt either. Really, especially now, I really like it when my TV and music evokes virtually no emotion from me. But I thought it was fantastic. The first 2 episodes were fantastic. Beautiful, well acted, interesting, a variety of kind of storylines. I thought it was really good. So I recommend that. And what else am I watching? I've had a lot of Chicago PD on in the background. I had never seen it before, so there's like a billion seasons. It's easy to have, police procedurals are my jam when I kind of want to half watch. Plus, I grew up in Chicago, so I like being able to see the city. And that's it. As far as stuff that I'm reading, I am up to my eyeballs in self-help. I'm reading a lot of self-help books. I think they're helping. I won't get into the reasons why, because I've talked plenty about myself. Okay, well, let's wrap this up, and I'm just going to not edit it and post it. The video will be on Patreon. And for anyone who's listening who's like so tired of the breakup stuff, I totally get it. I do like storytelling, and I do like sitting here and talking about anything that without having like the episodes, I have copious notes that I'm following and trying to make sure I tell the story, do it justice by telling it accurately and honestly. But I do like kind of the freedom of just sitting here and just talking. I do also know that sometimes it doesn't come out as great as other times. But please always send, if there's a topic you'd like to hear my opinion on or hear me discuss, or a question, or, stories from my past. I mean, I'm at this point, I feel like I'm kind of an open book and open to just oversharing about myself. And at the same time, I don't want to just completely bore people. So, or become just overly self-absorbed. It may be too late. I may be going down that path. All this self-reflection. All right. Well, thank you guys for continuing to be patient and understanding through this I want to say breakup, but I also just want to say life. Life sometimes I just is life. So thank you for being understanding that this is out late. Candy Mossler Part 2 will be out later today. And with that, I will say, continue to leave us reviews, send me DMs, try out our Patreon for free for a week. And I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Thank you for your support of myself, the show, Jenna, Indiana, Henry, everybody, even Mark. So thank you guys. And I hope you're having a great week. Okay, bye.
Death by Southwest is hosted by Jenna Schneider and Margot Carmichael.
Executive produced by Margot Carmichael.
Produced by Jenna Schneider.
Audio editing and sound design by Margot Carmichael.
Music by Soundstripe.
And a special thanks to Edward R. Murrow for letting us borrow his famous sign-off phrase, good night and good luck.